Hi folks, John Dunn here, RPG freelancer, publisher behind Melior Via. I'm up here with Mikey tonight at Immortals.
What is up, John? We are here and we are present. We are everything, aren't we?
Well, I don't know if we're everything. I haven't been eating that much.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. It's a bold assumption, right?
A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the OGL kerfluffle that was going around, right?
Kerfluffle is the perfect word.
And in light of that, it had me looking at some of the books that are out there from third-party publishers. We've talked about a few other things from Kobold Press recently, but Kobold Press is actually one of the companies that has come out and said, hey, we're going to do our own new game system, right? They've got Black Flag coming out. And one of the things they've said about Black Flag is that their Deep Magic books are going to be compatible with it. Well, still a little ways off. They just did another crowdfunding campaign for a second volume of Deep Magic, but thought we'd take a look at their Deep Magic for 5th edition because we got a copy on the shelf up here and, you know, it seemed relevant to what people are talking about. Sound like a good idea to you?
Yeah, I mean, so you could use this with the D&D setting.
You can absolutely use this with the D&D 5th edition system, and then
related.
It should be forward compatible.
Sweet.
So this is actually the third version of this book that they've come out with. They previously did one for Pathfinder and another one for 13th Age. They might have done some other ones and I missed them, but those are the ones I've seen. This started off with a 2019 Kickstarter, and they had 4,400 backers on that and raised around almost $250,000. So it was a pretty successful Kickstarter.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
And then it came out in July of 2020. Big group of developers, and like I said, this was a crowdfunded book, and so some of the contributors to the crowdfunding campaign also introduced some stuff to this book. So what is it? Well, it's a book of spells. There's a lot of spells. In fact, there's around 700 new spells for your D&D 5th edition campaign. It's about 90 pages of this book. And it covers stuff for every single spellcasting class that's in normal D&D 5th edition. And a few of them do have ties to Midgard, which is Kobold Press's house setting that we've mentioned before. But even the ones that do are still going to work pretty well for most home games and really most other settings. After you get through those 700 spells, like I said, that's a lot of them. It's 90 pages, but the book is actually pretty big. It's 350 pages, so there's other stuff going on in here too. There's some class options, about 35 pages of the book. Many of these are subclasses. Really, there's a lot of subclasses in here, going through pretty much every class that has spellcasting options and, you know, some that don't. So you've got bard colleges, you've got arcane backgrounds. There's a lot of material here that give you plenty of options. And then they also introduced 12 new types of magic that follow on from those class options. And again, most of these have subclasses. And this is actually a fairly big chunk of the book, and I thought this was some really interesting material. So there's an alchemancy school of magic, which is kind of derived from alchemy. So, you know, you're messing with the matter of reality. There's a section on angelic magic and how your characters might be able to do that without being angels. A section on chaos magic and how your characters might be able to do that without, you know, being demons. Dragon magic, again, accessible to PCs. Elven ritual magic, which is kind of feat-based. Typically, these things are slower to cast, so you might not have to take a class to be able to do this. There's hieroglyphic magic. Again, this is feat-based and really kind of strongly Egyptian-themed stuff. So because it's a feat, again, you might not have to take a class to use it. Illumination magic. Ring magic, which is kind of a dwarven jewelry magic. Rune magic. Norse-based, much like the hieroglyphic stuff. Again, feat-based. Shadow magic. Temporal magic, so messing around with time. And winter magic. And again, most of these have subclasses that tie into them and some pretty cool backgrounds that kind of leverage those different types of spells. After that, the book gets into a section on wizards' entourages. This includes NPCs, constructs, and some other options for familiars, stuff you wouldn't normally see. It gave me a real strong Ars Magica vibe. Remember when we talked about that one a while back? So you could set up really a party that was adventuring based on what the wizard wanted them to do here. I thought there were some cool possibilities there. I mean, they wouldn't have to be PCs. You could have it as NPCs as well. But in either case, it's kind of a different slant than you'd usually see on D&D 5th edition. After that, there's several appendices. One of clockwork magic, one of labyrinth magic, which is really strongly tied into minotaurs. A section on dark magic, which I would reserve for NPCs if I were game mastering, but, you know, not every GM's going to agree with me.
Yeah.
These include things like apocalypse magic, which is every bit as bad as it sounds.
Wow.
Blood magic, fiendish magic, so again, getting into stuff demons are going to be doing. Void magic, mythos magic, which is very much Cthulhu. Lust magic, and necrophagy. You know what necrophagy is?
Has to do with the dead.
Has to do with eating the dead.
Wow.
Yeah, cool, huh?
Sounds good.
Yep. Then there's a section of arcane traps and some spell variants where it looks at Charm Person, Fireball, and Raise Dead, and different ways that you could use all three of those spells within your campaign. It is a 350-ish page book from Kobold Press. It is full color. It is a hardcover. It retails for $50. It is not maybe as lavishly illustrated as some others that we've looked at, though there is some really cool art. But I think part of that is because there's 700 spells in here. So they're trying to fit an awful lot into this tome. As of when we're recording this, that second book is still on Kickstarter. I'm not sure if we'll get the video out before that Kickstarter completes. There'll probably be some crowdfunding opportunities, though, following on to that. And of course, Immortals will have Volume 1 and Volume 2 in the store eventually. So if this sounds like something that's interesting to you, if you want to expand the options for spellcasters in your campaign, stop in, take a look. We've got it up here on the shelf at Immortals, or hit us up at immortalsinc.com.
Well said, my friend. Links are all down below. There you go.
Till next time, good gaming.